Hello and welcome to the Mill. I'm your host, Dusty Crane, and this week, do we ever have just a ton to talk about? We got the 10th year anniversary newsletter, or at least, it was the September 2022 newsletter, but celebrating 10 years of Stonemaier games. And did Stonemaier ever kind of wrap us up a nice birthday gift there? So let's go ahead and cover some of those things that were mentioned. And I got my notes right here, and I cannot believe that I have to scroll through all of the great stuff that was announced. So we have previously heard about 2 new Rolling Realms promos coming. The third one has been announced, and that one is Smitten. Now, if you are just hearing about Smitten, I will get to that in just a minute. There is also a new living rulebook for Rolling Realms, and what I mean by that is, since Rolling Realms itself is a living game, more and more promos keep being provided and keep being designed, and Jamie says, that's going to continue for, I have to imagine, based on the stack of cards we saw, for years to come. So, Carol from Automa Factory put together, and is also the I want to say either the co-designer or the designer of many of these upcoming the promos for Rolling Realms. So what he went ahead and did was put up on Stonemaier website, kind of updated the rule book to include these new promo realms, and will continue to do so as new ones come out. In addition to that, updating the FAQ, so as more and more questions come out for these new realms, we'll have a place to go to find that. Now, I mentioned before a promo for a game called Smitten, and Smitten it's really cool in terms of, if you're a Stonemaier fan. If you're not a Stonemaier fan, one, I don't know what you're doing here. I'm glad you're here. But Smitten kind of takes the Stonemaier titles that we already have and turns it into just, it's a quick little, technically it's a 16 card. I guess you'd almost consider it a wallet game if you're familiar with kind of, what Button Shy does with theirs. There's no wallet with it. In fact, the packaging is a nice heavy paper envelope. So hopefully still has a little bit of shelf presence. Definitely looks pretty because it features art by Vincent Dutrait. I'm absolutely confident that I'm mispronouncing that, but went ahead and did a picture of, it looks like kind of a scythe mech, and you know what, let me just toss it up on over one of my shoulders, and while I talk to it, we got a scythe mech, we have the leader from Euphoria, we have Charterstone, we have Walter and Biddy, we have Wingspan, we have representation from Tapestry and from Pendulum, and just the Stonemaier games. I think it's, I think so. So many different iconic to the Stonemaier brand IPs, and so it's really cool to see them kind of all thrown together. And Smitten, what you do is it's a co-op game. You're working with someone else, although there are solo roles. I'll get to that in just a minute. It's a cooperative game where you're trying to work together to put together, basically, it's a 3x3 grid, so 9 cards to make that picture that you see on the cover of Smitten there, with all the different games represented. And your partner is trying to do the same, and you guys are working together to make that happen. But there's rules for placement, and the cards have things that they do too, but there's also the aspect of, you can't tell your partner what you have. It's kind of a very limited communication, so you can say things like, I don't want to play a card, or I'll play a card this turn, and so a little bit of hidden information that there's one card that's face down, so it's not like you just know, if I don't have this card, they do. There's a little bit of hidden there. So 1 to 2 player Smitten, I'm really looking forward to getting that. I don't have a copy to show you just yet, but I'll get one. We also got a new old title. So what I mean by that is, Viticulture has got the Essential Edition treatment, and now Between Two Cities is getting the Essential Edition treatment. And what that means is there is a new box with some gorgeous artwork, which I'll throw over one of my shoulders here, and it contains, Between Two Cities. It also contains aspects of the Capitals expansion. So Between Two Cities Capitals, it kind of like it took the parts that were the best, and there's a little bit of an update to the art, made a little bit of the color pop a little bit more. But you still, if you're familiar with the Capitals expansion, still have those beautiful map tiles, or the map placemats that you build all around. I don't even remember what they're called at this point, but the beautiful artwork that was done by Beth Sobel, that is still present. So and in fact, a nice little nod to the original was Jamie put the art from the original box on the back of those cards there. So nice to see like the original art kind of reserved and still used, because it was a good looking box. The next thing that was mentioned in the newsletter is, so originally all of this stuff Jamie wanted available like right from the start, like from, when he made this announcement, everything in the web store. But freight shipping, doing what freight shipping does these days, found themselves in a scenario where they wanted to, they're celebrating their 10-year anniversary, but the stuff hasn't arrived yet. Now they're hoping it's going to arrive soon. I think the newsletter said they're hoping next week. I think that would be September 17th at this point. They're hoping it'll be available for sale. And that's the 3 promos, Between Two Cities, the Essential Edition, and Smitten. Now, one of the cool things about Smitten is, to begin with, for the birthday celebration, what remains of it, and I'm sure if it doesn't end up arriving in the next 2 weeks, it'll be extended a little bit, but Smitten, for a period of time, will be available for free if you order from the web store any tangible products. So like if you order an e-gift card, you're not going to get Smitten for free. But if you order any other physical product that they would have to ship you something, Smitten's going to be right inside that package for you, free of charge. And then if you miss that period of time, you're not going to miss out on Smitten. It'll be available from the web store. Jamie did mention a price. I'm drawing a blank on it right now. I think it was like $10 will be available. And, I would imagine the usual discounts apply. And speaking of discounts, for their birthday, everyone is eligible for a 10% discount from the web store. But if you're a Stonemaier champion, you get 20% on top of that. So 30% off on your purchase if you're a Stonemaier champion, if I'm understanding that right. If you go there and it's only 20% off, don't yell at Stonemaier. Come back to me and say, dude, what's up, you knucklehead, and I will apologize profusely. But that's pretty much the extent of it. Another thing that came out for this extravaganza is kind of what I've called it, this 10th anniversary extravaganza, was a how well do you know Stonemaier games quiz, and it was put together by fans. But man, is it ever a stumper. There's stuff on there that, there's certainly like a few gimme questions, but I'm telling you, I think it's been a couple days since I did the quiz, but originally I think I got 16 out of 20 is what I said in the live stream. I think that's right. I think it was 16 out of 20. I could be off. In any case, Jamie didn't even get 20 out of 20. So I'm telling you, it's really hard. But also, I mean, it is the question of the quiz is how well do you know Stonemaier games? So there is that aspect. So on top of all of that stuff, there's also several new videos from Stonemaier that Jamie put together that you can take a look at on your own time. There is a new video for the reveal, unboxing, and overview of Smitten, which I guess would be unenveloping for Smitten. There is also a Between Two Cities Essential Edition unboxing, reveal, and overview. And what I thought was kind of cool for both of those that you certainly don't get from my unboxing is Jamie kind of talks a little bit about how the title came to be and why, in terms of Between Two Cities, why they went ahead and decided to do an Essential Edition and kind of what went into that. So really cool insight in those. And then something that I have to chuckle at is an updated brief history of Stonemaier games. this brief history, the first one I think was like an hour and 15, an hour and 20, and it covered, I think, the first 7 or 8 years of Stonemaier games. And then this one is, I think, just 20 through 22, up to present day. And it's also an hour. So it's certainly over the putting 2 years or 3 years of time into something it's brief to talk about it in an hour, but I'm sure a lot of people are thinking if you go to the brief history, you're going to get, hey, everything broken down real quick, in 15, 20 minutes. But I always enjoy those videos because in that longer form, and you see it with the live streams too. When Jamie has the shorter videos, he basically just a subject, and then boom, the video's over. Whereas with these brief history, you see a little bit of like that reflection in real time and kind of him maybe a little bit more less about the product and being a little more introspective. And I think you see a little bit more Jamie in those videos. And so definitely if you're interested in how Stonemaier came to be and what they've been up to the last few years, including especially at the beginning of the video, even if you don't watch the whole thing, Jamie introduces Joe and talks about some of the stuff he does. Joe Aubrey talks about some of the stuff that he does, and Joe edits the videos that Jamie puts up anymore, and so there's lots of little like playing with editing, and it's cute. So check that out. And then finally, what a week for me to be able to like bury like this is. I'm still talking about all these topics, but that a new Wingspan Asia card being revealed isn't like the highlight of the video. Like that's awesome. So in that newsletter, Jamie also revealed a new bird card for Wingspan Asia, and that is the red jungle fowl, which actually adorns the side of one of the sides of the Wingspan nesting box. And it is, my understanding is one of the birds, or if not the bird, that was domesticated to produce modern day chickens. I think that's the flavor text that's on the card itself. But let's go ahead, and I have it up on this other screen here. And so it is able to be played in all three habitats, all three environments, has a cost of an invertebrate and a grain, has or seed, is 2 victory points. It has a crud. Is that a ground? Is that a ground nest type? And holds 6 eggs, so the potential to be an 8-point bird there. Now, what I think is kind of cool about this when activated power says, count the eggs on all of your birds. If the total is fewer than 6, lay one on this bird. So certainly a nice bird to start early with. If you get that in your starting hand, that'd be a nice way to essentially get those eggs for free, because take advantage of those powers. And obviously probably more towards end game, you're more likely to have more eggs on the board, so maybe not as useful in the end game, but definitely helpful at the start, particularly if you're using it to help play other bird cards. One thing that I did notice in the comments on the Stonemaier Games website, and I think it was actually asked in the live stream too, was this card has red corners. Now, we've seen 2 or 3 other birds for Wingspan Asia prior to this, and none of them had the red corners. Now, there are people speculating that there may be another helper inside the box. We had the quick start guide, and it had gray corners, and those kind of indicated promos, so you could easily separate them out. There's people that are speculating that maybe Wingspan Asia has that too for some reason, but it's an expansion, so your guess, well, I won't say is as good as mine, because I know what that's about. Just to be completely clear here, not bragging, just being completely honest with y'all. So the red corners could possibly mean something. And I think next month, right? That would be October. I think next month Jamie's slated to start talking about it. And I have to imagine that if those red corners mean anything, we'll hear about it at that time. And then, so a new Stonemaier blog that Jamie kind of just reflects a little bit on 10 years of Stonemaier games and kind of talks about the celebration too, how things kind of got pushed out a little bit, but just talks about like what 10 years looks like. And there's a picture from the viticulture news interview he did, probably local to Virginia or wherever he was living at the time, where he is talking about viticulture. Maybe he's already in St. Louis. In any case, a local news channel doing an interview talking about the Kickstarter campaign and then what he looks like now. And people were immediately, looking for spoilers in the picture. But there was a picture that Megan had taken previously. And so Jamie goes, if anything, like we think on the table in the background is actually the Wingspan puzzles, which we have. So the picture was taken a while ago. No spoilers to be found in there. Well, I mean, I guess there could be, but that was the only one that Jamie mentioned. And yeah, that was, man, is a lot of fun to see. I guess to see other people, Jamie sharing, hey, it's our 10-year anniversary, but other people sharing what those 10 years have meant to them, their favorite games, some of the highlights, some of the, the memories they've made as a result. And, what a legacy to say our mission, to say that our mission at Stonemaier Games is to bring joy to tabletops worldwide, and then having people from all over the world telling you that you achieved what you set out to do and that you're still doing. I can't imagine a nicer feeling. And I really, it couldn't be happening, or it couldn't have happened, because it's already happened. We've had 10 years of Stonemaier Games. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Jamie, even before I bought, I think I've told this story several times, even before I had given him a single dime, before I had done, bought a single thing from Stonemaier Games, still so kind, still so accommodating, talking, send a message in the Facebook Messenger, just sent a message to Stonemaier Games, not knowing who was on the other end, and just how, responsive and respectful and transparent and, just a good guy, like not just saying that because, he's my sponsor, he could go ahead and say, hey, this money is gone tomorrow and, you're not sponsored anymore. Sorry. It just doesn't make sense. And I have to, like, the way I feel about it right now is the mill might not be a weekly thing, but I think it would continue, at least in some regard, because I still have, I would still have so much, excitement around what Stonemaier does. The type of games that they deliver are the type of games I like. I don't like a lot of direct conflict or a lot of, take that. And, aside from, I feel so bad. Travis is such a nice guy, but like Pendulum, the timers, aside from the timers and Pendulum, like everything Stonemaier does has been a hit with me. I will say that the timerless version of Pendulum is rather good. But yeah, it's been fun seeing, basically getting to see Jamie kind of have a moment where, people can express what, his work has meant to them. And I just think that's special. I mean, even, not Jamie, I've said all along, if there's somebody doing something that you love or making something that you love, let them know. Even, it doesn't have to be anything other than that. I mean, I guess just encouraging people and bringing joy yourself, right? I mean, somewhere is going to bring joy to tabletops, and you being around it is going to bring joy to that tabletop. I have no doubt. But we can bring joy to other places too, and yeah, that's something that I think is a good mission to have. So that is all I have for you this week. Next week, I may just have something Wingspan to show you. Jamie has mentioned that you will see a teaser card on the mill at some point. I'm thinking it's going to be next week. I mean, unless something changes, it's going to be next week. So tune in if you want to see what Wingspan Asia bird card I have to show off. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks for watching. Bye.